Here we go. It is Blade, and it ain't happening. At least not anytime soon. It's now said to be on indefinite hold as Flying Lotus reveals he was set to write music for the reboot. Another disappointing update for Daywalker fans here as Marvel Studios' long-awaited Blade seems to be back on indefinite hold, with Flying Lotus revealing that he was on board to write the music. From Mark Cassidy, though Blade was removed from Marvel Studios' slate late last year, we had heard that the movie was simply delayed and would eventually move forward. Unfortunately, this no longer seems to be the case. Despite recent reports, the MCU reboot was still on track to commence production in the UK at some point later this year. Insider Daniel Rickman claims to have confirmed that Blade has been put on indefinite hold. Backing up this claim is recording artist DJ Flying Lotus, aka Steven Ellison, who has taken to X to reveal that he had signed on to write the music for the project before things fell through. And he does not sound optimistic about that film getting back on track. Last we heard, the latest draft by Eric Pearson, who is the sixth writer to have been assigned to the project after Michael Green, Stacey O.C. Kaffour, Michael Starbury, Bo DeMeo, Nick Pizzolatto, had finally satisfied everyone involved, but clearly not the case. Apparently, the reason that Blade was pushed back again is because Marvel is prioritizing the multiversal stories in the build-up to Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars, so it might not be a case of the studio struggling to get Blade right, as simply bad timing for Mahershala Ali's Daywalker to make his MCU debut. We've also heard that the positive response to Wesley Snipes' appearance in Deadpool and Wolverine had led to the studio planning to make the reboot a multiverse story that could feature both takes on the Daywalker. This might all be moot now anyway, but hopefully Marvel will come back to the movie after Secret Wars. Delroy Lindo was talking about the role he would have played before parting ways with the film during a recent interview with EW. He said, when Marvel came to me, they seemed to be really interested in my input. And in the various conversations I had with the producers, the writer, the director at the time, it was all leading into being very inclusive. It was really exciting conceptually, but it was also exciting in terms of the character was going to form. And then, for whatever reason, it just went off the rails. There was a Marcus Garvey-esque component to who this man was shaping up to be. I'm not saying that would have been an out-and-out Garveyite, not that, just in terms of how this man's philosophy, his ethos, and what was driving him. He was a character who had very similar to Sinners, created a community, a Black community. He was a character who was the head of this community. Jan Dimanche, who stepped in to replace Bassam Tariq, previously confirmed that the movie, or at least the version he was attached to, was going to be rated R. He said, I'm excited to show a kind of ruthlessness, a roughness. He allows him to walk the earth in a particular way, and I love him for that. He's got a dignity, integrity, but there is a ferocity there that he usually keeps at the surface. I want to unleash that and put it all on the screen. Well, doesn't seem like he's going to be able to do that. So, I think we start, Winston, with you, man. And when you hear this, obviously disappointment hits because everybody wanted to see Mahershala Ali do this. He's not going to do it. We've been saying that for a year now, that none of us thought Mahershala Ali was going to wind up doing this. Is there a world that Blade happens soon? Outside of once they wrap Avengers, and is there a world that Mahershala Ali shows up, or is this pretty much it? They're going to recast, or they're not going to see Blade for a long time.
All right, let's talk about Stitch Fix. I know shopping's hard. I know it is. I found a much better way to do it, though. Stitch Fix, online personal styling, and makes it so easy. I'm not a shopping person. Doesn't matter. Even if I can figure out my size, stores never seem to really have what I need in stock. Then I'm not a crowds person. I'm not a lines person. I don't have the time for it. Stitch Fix, it gets you a stylist who understands your style, understands the size, gets the budget. They do all the shopping for you. So I just give my stylist the one that I have right now. I give them the size, I give them the style, I give the budget preferences. I order boxes when I want, how I want, no subscription required. And he just sends me for pieces, pluses, outfit recommendations, styling tips. It's awesome. I keep what works and then I send back the rest. It's very easy. There's no stores, there's no crowds, there's no stress. Just personalized looks that you're going to love. Stitch Fix makes it all so easy. And it looks like you know what you're doing, too. If you're walking around, you go, hey, look at you. You're in style. I said, I know, right? And then I give Stitch Fix some props. Anyway, make style easy. Get started today at stitchfix.com/KHS. One more time, stitchfix.com/KHS.
We're looking at a recast, which sucks. I hope that they still find a way to include Mahershala if they haven't already figured out a Beyonder. I feel like he could actually be a really interesting Beyonder, to be honest with you. The Beyonder can be a little eccentric at times, but there are some very serious moments with him. So I think that would be a good role for him to potentially slip into. But I don't think this is going to be happening for a while. until we start talking Doctor Strange 3, until we start talking other, Midnight Suns type situation. I think that this is fully on a back burner. We've already talked about it. The main cash cow is going to be the X-Men. So once you kind of deal with what we're in the middle of right now and get through the end of Doomsday and Secret Wars and all that kind of stuff, that's where they're going to look, as they should. But this sucks. This really, really sucks. And I think the main thing we need to look at is Wesley Snipes actually some sort of voodoo master? Because he said there's only ever going to be one Blade. Ain't going to be no other Blade. Yeah. And he wasn't lying, bro.
Boy, what do you make of this story?
I echo a lot of what Winston's saying here. I think X-Men and Fantastic Four are going to be a huge focus. I think they're going to make a lot more streamlined choices going forward. The good news is Blade is a very streamlined choice. It's a very, this can be a narrative. And the other good news is they're focusing on darker things. Like, things feel like they're turning more adult overall. So I could see a Blade, but I don't see it being first wave out the gate post Secret Wars necessarily. And I don't see it happening anywhere between then. But the good news is, for me, as someone that hates early announcements, they haven't announced a lot of stuff post Secret Wars. And I think that's good. I think that's healthy. I think announcing this in 2019, it is 6 years later. I hope this is one of the last casualties of that phase of announcing phases. I don't think they should focus on 10 years out publicly. I think they should focus on 10 years out privately and focus on the year or two ahead of them publicly. And until Blade is filming and until Blade is actually going forward, please don't tell me about him again, because I'm sad.
Well, they also don't have that kind of power that they did back in the day when they could do that stuff, right? And the excitement that was attached to it beforehand, where you wanted to hear the slate of 5-10 years because they had earned it. You're like, okay, you guys just knocked it. That's good. That plays into that. Okay, great. What do you have lined up for the next 4 or 5 years? And then they tell you, like, okay, good. You've delivered on that. Right now, they haven't been able to do that. So they're rightfully focusing on, okay, we got to get these Avengers movies right, because the first thing that everybody's concerned of is, like, as everyone's been saying, there's no real big buildup to this yet. What are they going to do? And I think that what's funny about that is because of what I just said, where we're so used to Marvel giving us movie after movie that leads up, that we forget that most movies, if they're going to do a trilogy or even 2 movies, they set up all the things and all the cast of characters and whatever the drama, the inciting incident and all that in the first movie. So whatever that might be for, Doomsday, you've got to get us to a place that we're so excited that we want to see Secret Wars. Now, if they accomplish that, if they make that happen, that's what they need to do to get the money in the bank. After that, the focus is going to be the X-Men. We all know it. The X-Men is going to be the main focus. Within that, if they get back on track and they start making some money again, and you can put, like, look at what they're doing with some of these movies. Look at the Sean Levy Star Wars movie, which is going on a lower budget now, right? Go on a lower budget, make a Blade movie. It's unfortunate Mahershala Ali is not going to be in this movie. There's no world where he's going to, there's no world he's going to be Blade. I just don't think that that's going to happen. What I do think that could happen and should happen, as Winston said, we said this a long time ago, they should say, hey, we know we dropped the ball on this. We understand who you want. You want to play Magneto? You want to play this person? You want to play this person? Who you want? You got it. We want you. We want you in the family. We dropped the ball. Who you want? And I think that that's what they should do. Go ahead, Coy.
What I'm curious about is all the groundwork they've laid, what actually sticks around post Secret Wars. Because a lot of the stuff that set groundwork up feels like that's the stuff that's been delayed. Like this year, we've got those 9 properties, including Ironheart, including Marvel Zombies. Right. That's all like the horror occult side. I felt like they were driving towards with even Werewolf by Night. But after Secret Wars, does that pay off? I mean, I feel like Ironheart sets up Doom really well with magic and technology merging and all those things. But all of this groundwork, I don't know if that's going to feel like it's a precedent after Secret Wars. So I'm really curious what counts.
Yeah, Winston, you were going to say something?
No, I mean, I'm on the same page with Coy of where that kind of fits in. And you don't even forget, we also have Wonder Man. So, like, he's also trying to figure out where that's going to kind of click in a little bit. I think the smart move for the integrity and in the same way that how much disrespect have we had for Star Wars recently because of the constant making promises and them not coming to fruition?
Right.
And then let alone you do that and then stuff you put out doesn't hit. So I think the smarter thing to do, you've made the announcement, you got to kind of sit with that L and just focus on what is currently working. I mean, you know, things I've heard about Thunderbolt sounds like it's great. You're trying to get started on, you know, obviously Doomsday and whatnot, and how even the chairs was good. Like, it seemed like bad press, but it was great press. So like, focus on what's working. And this is just going to be a weird blip this week, and then no one's going to be thinking about it. Sadly, it'll be in the back of my mind. I'm going to be very sad about it, but people will move on.
Yeah. I also think the chairs prove that Marvel has a lot of clout still, but they really need, like, Thunderbolts being, you know, we hear amazing. I haven't seen it yet, but like, that's going to be such a big victory lap moment. We need to like keep that momentum up. We've talked all last year about like, if Cap doesn't work, we need the 1-2 punch of Thunderbolts going into Fantastic Four. What does it look like to have this momentum, and how do you keep that going into Avengers and things if you're going to have these properties that aren't on the next docket? Like, I would hold off on announcing much until 2026 for post Secret Wars.
I agree, and I think that that's probably what to do. Blade will eventually show up. Could be 2 years from now. Could be 10 years from now. He'll show up as long as Marvel's still making movies. Eventually, he'll show up. It just won't be Mahershala Ali. What do you guys think? You think them? Who knows? You guys are wrong. They're going to figure this out. Mahershala Ali is going to be in this movie. They're going to make it happen, or is it a done deal?